Now the true story of the disappearance of DeOrr Kunz.
DeOrr was a 2-year-old boy who went missing on July 10, 2015, during a family camping trip in Lemhi County, Idaho.
We will explore the camping trip in great detail, from the preparations to the events that led to DeOrr's disappearance. DeOrr's parents, Jessica Mitchell and Vernal Kunz, along with his great-grandfather, Robert Walton, and a family friend, Isaac Rainwand, planned a camping trip to the Timber Creek campground near DeOrr, Idaho. The group was excited about the trip and spent several days preparing for it. They packed camping gear, food, and clothing for the trip. They also brought DeOrr's favorite toys, including his toy truck and stuffed animal. On the day of the trip, the group left for the campground in the morning. The drive to the campground was long and bumpy, but they finally arrived at their destination in the early afternoon. They set up their campsite, which included a tent and a campfire. DeOrr's parents and great-grandfather set up the tent while Isaac Rainwand started the campfire. Once the campsite was set up, the group spent the rest of the day exploring the area around the campground. They went for a walk and collected rocks and sticks. DeOrr's parents took him for a ride on his toy truck, and he enjoyed the fresh air and sunshine. As night fell, the group gathered around the campfire and roasted marshmallows. DeOrr's parents put him to bed in the tent and read him a bedtime story. The rest of the group stayed up late, chatting and enjoying the peaceful surroundings. On the second day of the trip, the group decided to go fishing. They packed their fishing gear and set out for the nearby creek. DeOrr's parents held his hand as they walked along the creek, and he played in the water. The group caught a few fish and returned to the campsite. After lunch, DeOrr's parents put him down for a nap in the tent. Isaac Rainwand stayed at the campsite, while Jessica Mitchell and Vernal Kunz went for a walk. When they returned to the campsite, they found that DeOrr was missing. The group immediately started searching for DeOrr. They searched the surrounding area, but he was nowhere to be found. They called out his name and asked nearby campers if they had seen him, but no one had. The group realized that they needed help and contacted the authorities. The authorities responded quickly, and a massive search operation was launched to find the boy. The search teams included law enforcement officers, search and rescue personnel, and volunteers. The search operation began in the area around the campsite and then expanded to cover a large area around the campground. The search teams used a variety of techniques and equipment, including search dogs, drones, and helicopters. The search for DeOrr was challenging due to the rugged terrain and the dense forests surrounding the campground. The search teams had to navigate through steep terrain, thick vegetation, and rugged terrain to search for any signs of the boy. The weather also presented challenges to the search teams. The temperatures were high, and the air was dry, which made the search conditions difficult for search dogs. The teams also had to deal with the occasional thunderstorms that rolled through the area, causing search efforts to pause temporarily. The search teams faced challenges with communication as well. The rugged terrain and dense forest made it difficult to maintain communication between the teams. The search teams had to rely on radios and cell phones to stay in contact with each other, but the spotty reception and the rugged terrain made it difficult to maintain consistent communication. The search teams used a variety of techniques to look for DeOrr. One of the primary methods was to use search dogs. The search dogs were trained to track human scent and were used to search for any signs of DeOrr in the area around the campsite. The search teams also used drones equipped with cameras to search for DeOrr from the air. The drones provided an aerial view of the terrain and helped the search teams to identify areas that were difficult to search on foot. The search teams also used ground-penetrating radar, GPR, to look for any signs of DeOrr buried in the ground. GPR uses radar pulses to image the subsurface and is commonly used in archaeological and geological surveys. Using search dogs to look for DeOrr was challenging due to the rugged terrain and the dry air. The scent of DeOrr was difficult to detect, and the dogs had to work harder to pick up the scent. The search dogs were also affected by the heat and the dry air. They required frequent breaks and needed to be hydrated regularly. The search teams had to carry water and supplies for the dogs, which added to the logistical challenges of the search operation. Volunteers played a crucial role in the search for DeOrr. The search operation was a massive undertaking, and the authorities could not have done it without the help of volunteers. The volunteers came from all over the country and included local residents, church groups, and search and rescue organizations. The volunteers assisted with the search efforts, helped to distribute supplies, and provided emotional support to the search teams. They worked tirelessly in the scorching heat and rugged terrain, often for days on end. Managing volunteers during the search for DeOrr was challenging. The authorities had to ensure that the volunteers were safe and that their efforts were coordinated with the search teams. They had to provide volunteers with food, water, and supplies while ensuring that the volunteers did not interfere with the search efforts of the trained personnel. The authorities had to maintain effective communication with the volunteers, ensure that they were properly trained, and assign them to areas that needed the most attention. They also had to manage the influx of volunteers and ensure that they were properly registered and accounted for. The local community played an essential role in the search for DeOrr. They provided support to the search teams and the family of DeOrr. The community rallied around the family and offered their prayers, emotional support, and resources to help find the boy. The community also played a vital role in spreading awareness of DeOrr's disappearance. They shared information on social media, put up posters, and organized search parties. The community's efforts helped to keep the search for DeOrr in the public eye and generated leads and tips that were helpful in the search operation. While community involvement was critical in the search for DeOrr, it also presented challenges. The authorities had to manage the influx of people who wanted to help, ensure their safety, and coordinate their efforts with the search teams. The authorities also had to deal with false leads and rumors that circulated on social media, which hampered the search efforts. The authorities had to sift through the misinformation and follow up on leads that were credible, which took time and resources away from the search operation. After weeks of searching, the authorities were unable to find DeOrr. The search operation was eventually called off, and the case was classified as a missing persons case. The search operation was one of the most extensive and expensive in the history of Idaho, involving hundreds of trained personnel and volunteers. Despite extensive searches and investigations, the young boy has never been found. One of the most puzzling aspects of the case is the presence of several suspects who have been linked to DeOrr's disappearance. Jessica Mitchell and Vernal Kunz are DeOrr's mother and father. They were camping with DeOrr on the day he disappeared. Jessica and Vernal have been considered suspects in DeOrr's disappearance since the early stages of the investigation. Investigators have questioned their stories, and both parents have given conflicting accounts of what happened on the day DeOrr vanished. For example, Vernal initially claimed that he had taken DeOrr to a nearby store, while Jessica stated that she had been with DeOrr at the campsite. Furthermore, investigators have noted that the couple was reportedly arguing on the day DeOrr went missing, which has raised suspicions. In addition to their conflicting stories, investigators have pointed out that the couple has a history of drug use, and they were reportedly under the influence of drugs on the day DeOrr disappeared. Investigators have also noted that Vernal has a history of domestic violence. The couple has consistently denied any involvement in DeOrr's disappearance. They have stated that they believe someone else took their son. The couple has undergone several lie detector tests, but the results have been inconclusive. Isaac Rainwand is an ex-convict who was camping in the same area as DeOrr on the day he disappeared. Rainwand, in addition to the 3 suspects mentioned above, there have been several other persons of interest in the case of DeOrr Kunz. These include DeOrr's great-grandfather, Robert Walton, who was reportedly camping in the area at the time of DeOrr's disappearance, and a man named Eric J. Kennedy, who was also camping in the area. Investigators have suggested that Walton may have had a motive to harm DeOrr. According to reports, Walton was reportedly upset with Vernal and Jessica because they had taken DeOrr away from him. Investigators have also pointed out that Walton has a history of violence and has been involved in several domestic incidents. Eric J. Kennedy was also camping in the area at the time of DeOrr's disappearance. Investigators have suggested that Kennedy may have been involved in DeOrr's disappearance, but he has not been charged with any crime. Kennedy has stated that he was not involved in DeOrr's disappearance and has cooperated with investigators. However, he has a criminal history, including charges for drugs and assault. The investigation into DeOrr's disappearance has been ongoing for several years. The case has been complicated by the conflicting stories and evidence provided by the suspects, as well as the remote location where DeOrr disappeared. Investigators have conducted several searches in the area, including using cadaver dogs and a helicopter equipped with thermal imaging technology. However, no trace of DeOrr has been found. In addition to the physical searches, investigators have also conducted extensive interviews with the suspects and witnesses. They have also analyzed cell phone records and other digital data. Despite the efforts of investigators, the case remains unsolved. The suspects in the case have all denied involvement, and there is no conclusive evidence to indicate who may have taken DeOrr or what may have happened to him. The disappearance of DeOrr Kunz has been shrouded in mystery and speculation as investigators and the public have tried to piece together what happened to the young boy. While some theories have been put forth, there is still no definitive answer as to what happened to DeOrr on that fateful day in 2015. One theory that has been put forth is that DeOrr may have been taken by a wild animal. The area where he disappeared is known to be home to several predators, including wolves, mountain lions, and bears. However, experts have stated that it is unlikely that a wild animal would have taken DeOrr without leaving behind some trace of the boy, such as clothing or blood. Another theory is that DeOrr may have wandered away from the campsite on his own. However, the terrain in the area is rugged and difficult, and it seems unlikely that a toddler would have been able to navigate it without help. The disappearance of DeOrr Kunz has had a profound impact on the family and the community, and the aftermath of his disappearance has been marked by grief, suspicion, and speculation. In the immediate aftermath of DeOrr's disappearance, search and rescue teams scoured the surrounding area in an effort to find the young boy. However, as time passed, hope began to fade, and it became increasingly clear that the chances of finding DeOrr alive were slim. The family and the community rallied around DeOrr's parents, Vernal Kunz Jr. and Jessica Mitchell, offering support and prayers in the hope that DeOrr would be found. However, as the investigation into his disappearance continued, suspicion began to mount, and the family found themselves at the center of the investigation. Both Kunz and Mitchell were named as suspects in the case, and investigators suggested that they may have had a motive to harm their son. However, both Kunz and Mitchell denied any involvement in their son's disappearance, and the case remained unsolved. The community was also rocked by the disappearance of DeOrr, with many expressing shock and disbelief that something like this could happen in their small town. The disappearance of a young child was a tragedy that touched the hearts of many, and people came together to support the family and to try to make sense of what had happened. As time passed, the investigation into DeOrr's disappearance continued, and new information emerged that only deepened the mystery surrounding his disappearance. One of the key pieces of evidence that emerged was a cadaver dog's alert to a scent in the area surrounding the campsite where DeOrr disappeared. This discovery led to a renewed search of the area, but no remains or other evidence were found. The dog's alert raised questions about what had happened to DeOrr and whether foul play was involved. The investigation also uncovered information about the criminal histories of several individuals who were camping in the area at the time of DeOrr's disappearance. Both Rainwand and Kennedy were named as suspects in the case, and investigators suggested that they may have had a motive to harm DeOrr. However, despite the suspicions surrounding the family and the other individuals camping in the area, no one has been charged in connection with DeOrr's disappearance. The case remains unsolved, and the mystery of what happened to DeOrr continues to haunt the family and the community.